So the first thing that I want to address is the only spot that they haven't attacked on offense that looks like they could is left tackle. And the fact that Moore is sitting there without bringing another guy in, to me, says that either 17 or 32 could be in play for left tackle. If those two slots are missed, which I'm personally hoping for, Moore is your tackle and he's your tackle forever. And I think that that's going to be the end of the discussion. So that's the tea leaf of offense. If you're leaning forward, they're going to take an early pick on offense. There's a healthy bet that can be made why you would want to say left tackle's a possibility. But when we look into the broader sense of the defense, without having a number 2 true coverage linebacker or safety, without Edmonds coming back essentially, that position is on the table. And by position, I mean middle of the field coverage guy. That can be done either as safety or as speed middle linebacker. Now, do I think that they're going to go with another small, super athletic middle linebacker a la Bush? No. But that is the position that's open. And then, of course, as always, the paranoia of replacing Cam has to be there. Ogunjobi, fantastic re-signing. It was a great signing last year bringing him in. But when we look at, you need 2 of them, and given the injury rate, and thank God Cam never gets hurt, but you need to get to a point where another one's there. And Liao does a lot of great things. He's probably more destined to play the Brett Kiesel position, except that doesn't really exist on this defense anymore. But if this were a generation gone by, he would be Brett Kiesel. That's who Liao ultimately is. So we're going to see him coming into his second season here. If he puts on the poundage and the ability to blow him back, well then, yeah, he can become to it, and this position is off the table. So I really believe that if we don't see either the first pick or one of the 2 second rounds going interior defensive line, it is a giant confidence indicator in that they believe that the combination of Liao and Lattimore are going to be able to take over that position for the future moving forward. Because the one thing is true is that they are in a turnover. You basically got the 2 young prospects, and no one else that they've tried there has developed. And there's no even guarantee Loudermilk will. But at least Liao was a prominent draft pick that they used at. Obviously, Ogunjobi is just money. But Liao was prominent to go there. So there's a spot you can look at. But the glaring kind of odds-on favorite, I'm getting a lot of comments saying it's what you want to see, is the cornerback position. Yeah, we got Peterson. That's awesome. That's great, but he's not going to be around forever. You guys also have documented that very much whenever I was talking about how I think Peterson is an upgrade over Sutton. And for 1 year, I 100% do. But it doesn't fix you in the long term, and there's no argument being made, even attempted being made there. So when we look at corner, we don't have a number 2 corner on this roster. We don't have a number 2 safety on this roster, unless you're counting the KZ. But the way that they're building their safety role, it's not there. There's a second coverage guy that's missing if they're letting Minka play center field Troy job, which is the direction it looks like it's going. So where they're at right now, they're expecting Arthur Millette to step up and to become the slot corner over Sutton, who was the slot corner for coverage, and they want Millette to be able to step up and do that. It's not exactly his strong suit. So that's 2 positions that, as of this moment in time here, that they're lacking in. Now, there could be a signing between me recording this and there, and if there is, I'll adjust that responsibly tomorrow. But as far as where we're at right now, it's corner. So the Steelers essentially have set themselves up that they are probably going to be in need of the 4 biggest spots on the field being outside corner coverage, inside coverage overall, whether it be linebacker or safety, and slot corner. The problem with this is the reason I don't like drafting any of these positions. There are 4 positions in the NFL that take longer than 4 years to develop in terms of from they're drafted to being a capable and competent starter. Now, obviously, for all these, there are exceptions. There are Darrelle Revises out there. I'm not fighting that. But on average, it takes an outside corner 4 years to develop. 4 years to become an actual practical member of society. So I know this, and I would rather us go out and sign someone's failed second or third round draft pick and bring them in as our corner. It's kind of what we did with Spoon. And yes, there were moments where he was amazing, and there was moments that it didn't work out. Well, that's the position. I mean, corner is an all or nothing position. It's not like running back where you got 3 yards of carry, so it's okay. We'll just give it to you again. Corner is you're perfect all game, but you messed up once. Now everyone hates you. It's like playing left tackle. There's no love there. So I personally go with those types of guys because they're also less likely to resign because they remember being 23-year-old and hated on constantly because they let 3 deep passes up. Well, new city, fresh start, all that fun stuff. Come here, be our number 2. So that is overall why I don't believe in drafting a corner with the intent of having them playing corner in the NFL anytime soon. Now, that doesn't count special teams guys. Special teams guys, it doesn't matter what position they're written on paper. Don't care. They're special teams guys. But in terms of guys who are going to be playing on the field defensively, the corners are a spot where I don't want to draft. The second one, the Steelers have an exception with. Tight ends normally take 5 years to develop. The fact that we got Freiermuth going on fire, I absolutely love it. Again, that's why I want all free agency picks to the exception of re-signing Gentry. Avoid bringing middle of the field pass targets in. Let Freiermuth keep developing. But obviously, we're not drafting a tight end there anyway. We're set. And then safeties dash middle linebackers, the middle of the field coverage guys. The vast majority of them fail. We can think of the short list of those that succeed, but most of them fail. And I point down to Queen in Baltimore. They knew he failed the same way Bush did. They know how hard this position is, and they go and buy Roquan for an obscene amount of money. I think they're going to lose that trade overall because it's not a way to build a team. You can't pay that much and then sign someone. It just never works. But signing someone who's a pure free agent at that position, as the Steelers did last week, is a potential way. I would rather see the Steelers do another free agency addition to their middle linebacker spot than drafting one, but that's the overall presence. And if you are going to draft between middle linebacker or safety to cover the middle of the field, I'm much more in favor of going with the safety. A, they stay healthier longer, they're more athletic and taller. I mean, that's basically what you want. If they're going down the road of replacing Edmonds with a draft pick, I am completely okay with that. But the number one thing that I want them to do, and this is me, host of Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate talking, I want us to draft another Watt. I want 17 overall to be an edge rusher. Because if you have 3 of them, and Watt already takes himself off the field as regular he is, ignoring the injuries, just watching a regular Steelers game, Watt takes himself out a lot, which, again, when he's on the field, he is the greatest player of all time, like basically. So why are we going to fight the way he does it? But it does create a hole for the other plays. And if I can bring in an elite pass rusher and build this team with 3 elite pass rushers moving forward into the post-Cam Hayward era, that's a winning brand of football. Pass rush is how this team is always built. It's how overall teams win in the NFL. Coverage doesn't get it done because eventually you're going to Patrick Mahomes running around forever and someone getting open. It's a fact of life. But if you can sack Burrow, you can beat Burrow. Same with every other quarterback. And if you give me 3 elite pass rushers, with the possibility that 2 years from now, after the new guys developed and Highsmith got re-signed, that Watt can become a rover, well, now that's scary. That's an incredibly scary thought. So if I'm sitting here, I want to do at 17 the elite pass rusher. I would like the first pick of the second round from Chicago to be Cam's replacement, for lack of a better way of saying it. And then from there on in, I just want to keep padding the middle of the field. Give me the safety who's going to be there, potentially opposite of Minka forever. Because even the acknowledgement of re-signing KZ, it was not like a you're here forever contract. It was not a marrying him contract. It was a you got hurt last year, let's try some things out. So if I'm sitting here, I want middle linebacker, inside pass rusher, and a penetrating defensive lineman, not a run stop. I want a penetrating pass rushing interior D lineman, and then I want a safety. Those are how I want the end of the second round to look like. And then from there on in, you're basically playing with luxury toys. You know, if you can get a receiver who can run a mile and be a real compliment to Pickens, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that even in the second round. They're going to replace Deontay. But in the long run, this defense, as we sit right now, has the most holes. But if you can have a stability pass rush, you basically are giving yourself something unique that the rest of the NFL doesn't have. And when we go to true uniquenesses at a position, if you have it, it means A, the other team doesn't. But it's something that's unpredictable. It's like Lamar's first year. He was the only real running quarterback in the NFL. No one knew how to handle it. If your defense is bringing that, just means you're going to get sacked. The Steelers are going to win. So here we go, Steelers. That's what I'm doing in the draft. And I'll update this more as free agency goes on and more information comes out.